Hey, I'm live. All right. Wanted to try something new today. I use Facebook Live quite a bit. I've used Periscope in the past, but I have a YouTube page. And on my YouTube page, I tend to post videos that are things that, speeches I've given on the House floor, perhaps in a committee hearing, things like that. And I thought it would be what's fun. I'm kind of experimenting, so I'm hoping that you'll be a part of my experiment today. I'm experimenting to see if by linking the YouTube live video to my Facebook and Twitter pages that it will, I don't know, gather more people or somehow be more usable. If it's not, I won't use it anymore. But I just kind of wanted to give you a legislative update. It's been a couple of weeks of the session so far, and some things that I want to let you know that happened this week that I thought were fascinating. So first, let me go to the committees that I serve on. I serve on Judiciary. This is my third term on Judiciary. I serve on the Judiciary Committee, and the first and the second week really involved a lot of very good information from agency directors that have to do with justice. Department of Corrections, Oregon Youth Authority, the Psychiatric Security Review Board, on and on and on. So everything, sort of crime related, which is what Judiciary mostly does. So the agency heads would give us reports on how they did this year, how things are going, what might be needed, what's not needed. It was so great informational hearings in Judiciary. We really didn't do any bills, not even really hearings of any bills. I think we heard one yesterday, which is a fascinating bill. It was something I'd never even thought of. And so even after now starting my third term, I learned things that I didn't know about Oregon and needs in Oregon. So I had no idea, and this is a sensitive topic, so forgive me if I'm careful in how I talk about it. But I didn't know that prisoners, specifically female prisoners, did not have access to feminine hygiene products. Is that a fair way to put it? Feminine hygiene products. So I think you know what I'm talking about. And so, I mean, who would ever think of that, right? I mean, it's just something so thankfully, a couple of the ladies in the House, I believe it was Representative Doherty and Representative Peluso, and then I jumped on as a co-sponsor, came up with a bill to provide feminine hygiene products for the women in the prisons around the state. And then it was updated to include also Oregon Youth Authority. So, look, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I don't know all these things, but that time can start at various different ages for women. And so we needed to take care of those that are in the Oregon Youth Authority as well as those that are in the adult population prisons. Fascinating bill. So we had a public hearing on it. A lot of people testified as to why it was important, and I agreed with them. And so we'll be working that bill, meaning passing it out of committee sometime, I think next week it's scheduled. And I'll be glad. I'm proud to co-sponsor that and to vote yes on it. So that's kind of a quick look at Judiciary. Then my other committee is Ag and Land Use. And the chair is Brian Clem, and I'm vice chair along with the other vice chair, Susan McLean. And we have a lot of fun in that committee. Good fun, because we all kind of get along. All the committee members are just great people. Everybody from brand new legislator Shelley Bosshart Davis from Albany, brand new legislator Anna Williams from Hood River on the other end of the dais. The Democrat that sits next to me is Ken Helm. He chairs other committees, very smart guy. We don't always get along politically, but we do get along on ag issues. And then Chair Brian Clem from Salem, and then Vice Chair Susan McLean, and then also Representative David Brock Smith from down in the Bandon area. And we had some great hearings this week, and we heard a couple of great bills with the Oregon Department of Agriculture. But yesterday was fascinating. I was so thrilled to have one of my good farmer friends, Farmer Brenda Furkatich from St. Paul, along with her, well, he didn't come, but her husband, Matt. They farm a pretty big place out in St. Paul. And there was an issue. Again, this is something you would have never thought of, right? And that is the ditches. So imagine a farm field like this, whatever. however many acres. At the end, there's a ditch. And so as the water, comes down the farmland and pushes down, it has to go somewhere. It goes into the ground, but it also runs off and runs into these ditches. And what's happened is for over 100 years, farmers would go in and clean those ditches out because they'd get sediment and some plant growth and some things down in there. So they would clean those out so that the water would flow and go on down. And then they would use that sediment, that dirt and other material, and they pick it up and put it right back on their farm and mix it into the ground and use it to plant stuff. Well, apparently the Department of the State Lands Department said, you got to have a permit for that, and we're going to fine you if you don't do it. And farmers have been doing it for over 100 years. Didn't know that. So we had a bill that would say, no, that's not how it's going to work. And I'm really going to simplify a more complicated bill than that. But it really was that, no, that's crazy. But there was some testimony that was against the bill. And that was from people who represent the fish population, that, hey, there'll be fish down in those ditches. And even though the bill very clearly says that it's dry ditch, there was concern about fish. And I'm not belittling them. It's important. But the good news is I think we've come up with a really good bill. And I think that it's going to pass later on, maybe even as soon as next week. So we have a lot of good bills in that committee, thanks to our chair, Clem. So that's an update on my two committees. Overall, of course, the big story is today at 1:00, the what are they calling themselves? The Cap and Trade Carbon Joint Committee on Carbon Reduction. I think that's what they're called. I'm not on it. I don't know much about it. I know this. I did read the 98-page legislative concept. It's not a bill yet. It was introduced today in the committee, and then apparently it came out of the committee to become a committee bill. So now it goes on to the next stage. The takeaway that I'm going to give you right now, just the first glance at it, is this. Think about another 16 cents of gas tax. That's the first thing that stuck out for like a sore thumb for me. And so what I'm fearful of is the hyper-partisan Democrat supermajority is going to try to ram this thing through. Now, what they're going to say is, hey, we've been talking about this for years and years and years, and we've really been talking about for the last year. The thing that we as House Republicans and Senate Republicans are saying is, hey, remember when we had the transportation package and we went all over the state, everywhere, every corner of the state, we went with that, not me personally, but we as legislators went and took it to people and said, what do you think? What are your issues? What would you like in this bill? And that was great. Same thing happened with the Committee on Student Success. The legislators went all around the state and saw students, teachers, principals, educators all over the state and said, okay, we're going to come back and we're going to formulate some kind of policy on this. That's not what's happening with the clean energy jobs or cap and trade or climate change or whatever you want to call it bill. And we're asking them to take the time now to take this concept that you've created, this legislative concept, and I forget what the number is right now, 894, 394. Anyway, it's on my Facebook page. Take that concept and let's travel around the state over the next couple of months. And let's show it to everybody in the state, show the folks in John Day, show the folks in Medford, show the folks in Coos Bay, show the folks in Albany, show the folks in Portland, everywhere. This is what it will do. And this is the effect it will have on you. So I would ask you to contact your legislators. You don't have to contact me because I'm telling you, but contact your legislators and say, hey, take it on the road. Show us over in Dufur, in Elgin, in LeGrand, okay? Show us what this thing actually would do for and perhaps against us. So that's one that's really important. Two is, once again, Dennis Richardson's audits, fantastic. I want to say this, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, here's the thing. If one party is in charge of everything, that's just not democracy, nor is it a republic. It becomes almost mob rule. And I'm not calling them mob. I'm just saying you can't have one party in control. And the good thing about having Dennis Richardson as Secretary of State is he's providing a little bit of balance to all the other branches and all the other offices. And his audits have been fantastic. And the latest audit came out yesterday, and it was about the marijuana program, recreational legalized marijuana. I want to be very clear. I have I always say to you who voted for me or didn't vote for me or aren't in my district, and you just, I entertain you occasionally. I've always said, you may not like what I say, but I'll never lie to you. And I've always been bluntly honest about the marijuana issue. I voted no on ballot measure 91 back in 2014, and I have voted no on every bill that came across my desk on the House floor ever since. And that's because I'm against it. But you, the voters, 56% of you said we want legalized recreational marijuana, and so we have it. And now we have a mess. So I want you to read the report from Dennis Richardson. The Oregonian has a really great summation of it. You'll find it. Just Google the Oregonian marijuana Dennis Richardson audit and read it, because it's really scary. It's really scary. It's what I've been saying for 4 years now. We're going on the 5th year. That, are we sure we're doing this right? And the audit says, no, we're not. And that's where I'm so glad that Dennis Richardson is in office, where he is doing these audits of all of these state agencies. Okay, so that's kind of it. On a personal note, I'm at home, as you can see, because my duck thing is in the background, the Rose Bowl from the Oregon Ducks, and I have this because I've been house cleaning this afternoon. All morning I've been reading bills, and I've been reading that clean energy thing, and now I'm cleaning. So I'm going to go dust back there, and I need to mop the floor and do that. And so, I have my dust rag here. So I'm doing the important things now, cleaning the house before Mrs. Post gets home, so she'll go, oh, wow, you cleaned the house. How cool is that? I mean, guess I did. Anyway, so I do that. I try to do that every Friday. That's why you don't see Abby and I in the office on Fridays, because I don't have committees and I don't have any meetings really. And so for now, until we have floor session and any further meetings, we sort of work from home on Fridays. She answers emails and phone calls from home. I answer emails and stuff from home, and I do things like cleaning the house. Okay, so there you go. I hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see how this YouTube video turns out, see if it works. Otherwise, I'll go back to the Facebook Live thing. Have a great weekend. I hope you just have some great time with your family, and we'll talk to you again sometime soon.